Today we're getting over our fear of being cringe. Are you down? Being cringe, let's talk about it. It's what everyone's talking about right now. I hear so many people saying, young people, they don't want to try because it's cringe. I feel like that fear of being cringe is preventing so many of you from just like making art, expressing yourself, trying new things. What would happen if you weren't afraid of being cringe? For me, because I wasn't afraid of being cringe, I've built an audience online where I can share my art and share my ideas and inspire people to create and sell my art and work with really cool companies and do incredible things and like make my mark on humanity, hopefully. And I think so many people are preventing themselves from living what they want because they're too scared to even admit that they want more from life, that maybe they want to be a YouTuber, maybe they want to be an artist, but they're too scared of saying it. They don't even want to say it because they're that afraid of what? Of being cringe. I've learned in my life as someone who is human, I'm a person, and I have abundant fears like every other person. And the way that I work through my fears is by acknowledging them and defining them very clearly. What am I afraid of? So when we say cringe, what is cringe? I think cringe can be defined in many ways, but I'll define it for the sake of this video as being afraid of what other people think of us, being afraid as trying or of caring. Like there's something unsettling about someone who cares and who tries and who pursues things. That's cringe. If that's our definition of cringe, is that your highest value? Like, is that what you care about most in life? Is God forbid you're cringe? That's crazy to me. That's so sad to me. And it makes sense, right? Because we're surrounded by humans and we want to fit in and we want love and acceptance and community and all of those things that make being a human worthwhile. But if your connection to people is based on the fact that you have to dim yourself, you have to make yourself less of who you are in order to be accepted and loved, you don't really have community. You have a play, you have an audience for this character that you're pretending to be, but you aren't. Because on the inside, you're an expressive person, but on the outside, you've dimmed your light and you've muted yourself and you've made yourself so small so that you're accepted, but all you have is a play. And you've just cast yourself as this character that you aren't because you aren't that person. Because deep down, you want to express yourself, you want to be out there, you want to take up space in the world. And I'm sure that there are so many people who would judge me. Many have said it to my face, especially when I was starting out, especially when I was like 18 years old, saying, I'm going to pursue art. I'm 19 years old, I'm going to drop out of art school. I got so much judgment from friends and other people in my life who I thought would be supportive of me pursuing something that gives me joy, that gives me purpose. And so many people weren't supportive. I'm grateful that I had some friends who were, but there are friends that I just stopped hanging out with because they would just tell me everything they were worried about. They would tell me I wasn't being realistic. They would just be really judgmental. And it upset something in them, something about me wanting to live authentically, to be true to myself, to pursue creativity, to pursue art, and also to do it without the structure of school. I think was very upsetting to, especially coming from Massachusetts, where there is a high value put on higher education and we have some of the best universities in the world. Being someone and saying, I'm not going to go this traditional path, I'm going to go my own way, that upset a lot of people. And I felt very lonely for a certain time in my life because I had to let go of a lot of people because I realized I couldn't spend time with people who were judging me for trying to live a life that was true to myself. And when I wasn't actually hurting anyone with what I was doing, that's what blew my mind about it the most. People were so upset about me trying something as a teenager, pursuing art, or in my 20s. Like, people were so upset about this. And I'm like, I don't have kids who need me to provide a certain amount of money for them. Like, I'm young. I can just like try a thing. Why is this such a big deal? Why does it upset you that a young person or that a person of any age is taking a calculated risk and trying? And I think I realized that a lot of people suppress their own desires, their own ambitions, their own goals, their own dreams. And when you don't, it triggers them. It upsets something in them because they have created a narrative for their life that you need to comply with. They have created a narrative that if you don't go to school the way they did and get the type of job that they did, that you're going to fail as a person, and that they would fail as a person. They don't actually like what they're doing, but they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And I think it triggers people when you say, yeah, I'm not going to pursue a degree and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make videos online and I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make freaking paintings and I'm not going to be a starving artist. And that upsets people. It upsets people deeply. But most people aren't in touch with whatever is going on deep down inside of them. Most people are at the surface, but those deep feelings, they come out in other ways. How does it come out? Cringe. You're trying so hard. I guess you're still doing the art thing. It doesn't come out directly. They can't tell you the things that I'm telling you. They can't say, well, I went to school because someone told me I had to, but I would have been much happier pursuing a path like yours, but I didn't because I believed them. So I need you to be lame and uncool and unsuccessful, or else why did I do this? Or else why is this the narrative I've built my entire life on? You see, most people can't say that. Most people won't say that. They can't say that. They don't even know that that's maybe going on deep down for them. So they just call you cringe. So they just roll their eyes when they say, oh, you're still trying to do the thing. And you know what's the craziest part? Now that I've gotten some level of success, thank goodness, now that I have gotten followers on social media, sold my art, done really cool collabs with different brands who've wanted to work with me because of the creative things that I do. Now, some of those same people will be like, wow, I always knew you could do it. You're so good at this. How'd you do it? And the same people that were discouraging you might actually be your biggest cheerleaders later on, and you'll be like, okay, I don't really need this from you. But a lot of people don't have the imagination that you have. You're an artist, you're a creator, you can imagine things that don't exist. The paintings I make are things that don't exist. And the life I'm living now didn't exist when I was younger, but I could imagine the life that I'm living right now so vividly that to me it was real, the same way that my paintings were real to me before I ever made them. And imagining the life that you want is so real to you because you are imaginative and you are creative and you can imagine a world that is completely different from the one you live in right now. But so many people, they can't imagine something different than their present reality. They can't imagine that you can grow and change. They don't have a growth mindset. They have this fixed idea of who you are and what you're going to be like for the rest of your life, and they think of themselves that way too. And I see so many people live in fear and they project it onto others. They are projecting their own anxieties, their own insecurities, their own pain, their own regrets onto you. And yeah, we're going to call it cringe because that's a lot more comfortable than saying, I think you just regret the fact that you've never pursued a creative project in your off time from work. I think you're just upset that you've never tried living outside of your hometown and coming back. Not saying that there's anything wrong with staying, just saying there's people who sometimes stay somewhere out of fear and will judge you for trying something new. So, a lot of people, they're just so scared and they need everyone to agree with them that the way that they have intellectualized their fear as something good and very real, they need you to be on board with that. So when someone says, huh, you gonna be a starving artist? I'm like, no, I'm gonna earn a living providing value with my art and my creativity. And they will probably double down and be like, how many people can do that? Or, like people say the dumbest stuff, but I realize it comes from their own insecurities. It has nothing to do with me and it has nothing to do with you fundamentally. It has nothing to do with us. And the moment you can realize that people aren't talking to you based on where you are, it's based on where they are. And I've especially realized that now that I have found more success in my career, that I can meet someone and they don't see my social media, they don't see my art, and I'll say I'm an artist, and they'll say the same things to me that I heard 10 years ago when I hadn't built any of that. And I realized if I could tell my younger self one thing, is that no amount of success is going to change the fact that insecure people will project their insecurities onto you. It doesn't matter. You can get millions of views, you can sell your art, you can make good money. It doesn't matter because if someone's insecure and you're not, you're confident and you're secure in who you are, they will project onto you whatever is preventing them from living the type of life that they want. And it's something I wish I could tell every single person who's at the start of their creative journey is even if you are the best artist, photographer, musician in the world, there is still going to be someone who tries to doubt what you're doing. You can say, I'm actually succeeding. And they'll say, huh, but what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, what? That's nuts. And it's so crazy because I would never say that to someone else. If someone was like, oh, I'm a dentist, I wouldn't be like, well, what if you get fired and never get another job again? Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say to someone. And it's not nice. It's not kind to discourage people from things they've put in effort towards building in their life. And yet, with artists, that happens so much because art is something so joyful and wonderful and creative and amazing. And I think there's so many people who have creativity in them and they don't express it. So, all they can express is judgment and anger. And that's all they have to give. So, as an artist, it's so important to know that when people are judging you for being cringe, they probably wish they were as confident as you. And if you tell them that, they'll say, no, I wouldn't want to make videos like you. I wouldn't want to make art like you. So cringe. Like, they'll just double down. You're not going to get validation from the people judging you. And it is so not worth trying. It's really not worth trying to get validation from the people who are being jerks to you. So, what do we have instead? Let people believe what they're going to believe. Let people stew in their own insecurities. Let people be stuck in a world without imagination, without optimism, without all of the things that make you wonderful. Feel bad for them. I feel so bad for the type of people who judge me because I think if you're judging me, someone who's clearly happy, pursuing my passion, expressing myself, encouraging other people to do it. I'm not even competitive about it. I want everyone to make art and succeed. I'm being like a good freaking person out here. If you're judging me, where the heck are you at in your life? If you can't let me tell you about the cool projects I'm doing in any capacity and you just have to cut me off to tell me that it's not good enough or that I might not succeed or what will I do if I fail or there's like all of these worries, all of these dumb, stupid worries that come from your own fears and your own insecurities, like you're not going to change that person's mind and it's not worth it. And I feel bad for that person. I feel bad for people who live stuck in fear. I feel bad for people who see a young person pursuing their passions and try to discourage it. I feel bad for those people, not to the point where I'm going to take what they're giving me, but to the point where I can step back and say, I'm so glad I'm not you, and I wish for you to heal whatever pain makes you act that way. And I don't say that, but I think it. I think, what has happened in your life that you're like in your mid 30s or in your 60s or any age, or even the first time someone told me that I wasn't going to succeed as an artist, I was 6 and it was my 6-year-old friend. I said, I want to be an actress when I grow up. I'm not an actress, I'm an artist now, but still creativity. I told her I'm going to be an actress when I grow up. And she said, you need a backup career for that. A freaking 6-year-old told me I needed a backup career. A 6-year-old couldn't dream with me. A 6-year-old. When I was 6, that hurt my feelings. That sucked. And I remember that very vividly. And she was telling me how her mom had told her that. And I thought, if even a 6-year-old can't dream, what chance does everyone have? And I'm fortunate because I have the type of memory where I can remember a conversation from when I was 5 or 6 or 10 or 12. I can remember all of the things that ingrained certain psychology in me. And letting go of that and saying, wow, you must be really not okay if your 6-year-old child is telling another 6-year-old not to dream even a bit, because there's no harm in dreaming. There's no harm in having an idea, especially when you're a kid, but at any stage. Have an idea, have a dream. You live once. It's not to say you shouldn't provide for yourself, it's not to say you shouldn't earn money, but it's to say, why can't you imagine a life different than the one you're living now? That's what's actually cringe to me. And I think let's redefine cringe as discouraging people pursuing something they love in life. Let's define cringe as judging people who are trying, who care. Let's define cringe as discouraging people who are clearly putting effort into something they're passionate about. That's what's actually cringe. Me making a video on YouTube, that's not cringe to me. That's awesome. I'm really proud of myself and I value my own judgment and opinion over that of anyone else. And anyone who I keep in my life who's really close to me and whose opinion does matter to me, they also are cheering me on. I'll share with you a quote to finish it off, which is, the people who matter don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. I don't know where this quote is from, and I might have butchered it a bit, but that is to say, if somebody cares about you, they'll be happy that you're doing things you care about. And if they're not happy that you're doing things you care about, then they don't care about you in a really meaningful way that's healthy or good for you. They care about you, but only as much as they can within their own pain and their own limitations, maybe. And it's not my job to figure out why every person in pain says or does certain things. That's not my job. But I can understand that if you're in a place in life where you're commenting mean things on someone's video online, if you're in a place where you're judging people for being cringe, it means you value other people's opinions so much. And to me, that's the actual cringe thing. Because at the end of the day, the coolest thing ever is to be a self possessed person, to value your own opinion while caring about other people's feelings, living a moral life, taking other people's feelings and experiences into consideration, certainly, but not taking people's opinions to heart. I really value my own opinion, and I really know that I do my best to be an ethical and good person, and I apologize about things when I don't do things right because I'm human and I'm imperfect, and I'm not a perfect person, but I don't think that makes me less worthy of love and respect. And the same goes to you. So being called cringe is not the end of the world. And I don't think I'm going to get a reward when I reach 90 for never having tried. I think what's actually cringe is getting older and looking back and never having taken a single inconsequential creative risk in your life. Make a freaking piece of art. Show up, create, make a YouTube video. And someone's going to think you're cringy for it, for sure. But why do you care about their opinion again? Why does their opinion matter even a bit? It might bother you a bit in your heart because it's someone you care about, but it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. You can acknowledge that it doesn't feel good when someone calls you cringe while also saying, that's none of my business. If someone thinks I'm cringe for trying, that's none of my business. If someone from my hometown sees my videos and thinks I'm cringe, that's none of my business. And I don't think they're cool if they think that. I don't value their opinion. And you have to be really particular about whose opinion do you value. I value my own opinion. I really value my husband's opinion. I value some of my friends' opinions, some of my family's opinion, and sometimes I value certain people's opinions on one thing, but not another. And that's an option too. So I think being discerning, having judgment, and whose opinion do you let in? Do you let define your life? Do you value? And whose opinion do you say, okay, that's your opinion? You can have a thought. I have thoughts, but I don't need to agree with your thought. That's really important. You don't need to agree with everyone's opinions. Someone can think that me pursuing art is a bad idea, and I don't care. I'm not making them pursue art. They don't have anything to do with what I'm doing. I think me pursuing art is awesome. My husband thinks what I do with art is awesome. My good friends think what I'm doing with art is awesome, and close family who I value and I'm close to think what I'm doing is awesome. And that's really great. Thank God. But there's plenty of people who don't think what I'm doing is awesome, and I don't value their opinion because they don't live a life that comes from a place of introspection, that comes from a place of facing your fears. They don't live a life where I respect their opinion. So why would I respect their opinion of me and of my life decisions? I don't. So if someone who's living out of fear says, Dahlia, you're cringe, I'm like, why are you A, judging me? B, what are you so scared of? What are you so scared of? That someone's going to think I'm putting in effort? Yeah, I am putting in effort. Of course I'm putting in effort. I get to live once and I have energy to get up and put on my pink freaking hair and wear like a nose strip with bright colors and some colorful zit stickers, and I put my microphone on a paintbrush, and I put in a lot of effort to go to the store, to go to Michael's and get a big canvas, and I put in effort to paint it, and I put in effort to paint the chair I'm sitting on. What's wrong with effort? What's wrong with trying? It makes people feel like they're not doing enough. It makes people feel uncomfortable that they're still sitting and scrolling through their phone watching other people produce, which is so wild because they'll judge you for then trying to be the person producing the things that they would sit and watch. Do you realize how crazy that is? Do you realize how sad that is, that someone will judge you for trying to produce the type of content that they enjoy watching? What? That's so sad, and that's so messed up. And make the freaking art, let people call you cringe, let people think you're trying too hard, because you know what, you don't get a reward for not trying, you don't get a reward for not pursuing what you love in life. You get nothing for that except getting to hang out with other people who have that same psychology, which why do you want to be their friend anyways? Value your own opinion, acknowledge the pain it gives you when other people give you unkind opinions, but don't let their opinions dictate what you do with your life. You deserve to create, you deserve to express yourself, and you know what? You're going to inspire other people to do that too, which is really cool. And one of the coolest things that I've experienced as an artist is people come to me and say, Dahlia, because of you, I pursued art. Because of you, I create. It's been like the most meaningful and moving thing to me. I did a pop up event where someone came over and said, "You should know, you inspired my friend so much. She built her career because of you." I was like, that gives me chills. That was the coolest thing ever, that this young, like 20 something woman, like, comes up to me and says, "Yeah, I dropped out of art school and I built my career and I learned how to do social media. Now I'm doing murals and art and music festivals because of all the stuff you shared online." I couldn't believe it. That was so freaking cool. I've gotten letters to my PO box of people saying like, I make art and it's like saved my life and helped my mental health because of your videos. On the other side of your fear is getting to live a really cool life where you actually contribute to humanity and society in a way that's cool. I've gotten to work with really cool companies because of my art and because I wasn't afraid of being cringe. And even if you're afraid, be afraid, but show up. Be afraid of being cringe, but still show up. And I think that's the biggest thing. People are like, but I'm afraid. Then be afraid, but do it anyways. Like, fear shouldn't be sitting in the driving seat of the car. Fear is the passenger. And it's something that I've heard Elizabeth Gilbert talk about in the book Big Magic. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and she talks about creativity in this other book she wrote called Big Magic. And it's like something I heard so many people talk about, so many creatives. Everyone has fear. Everyone has fear in their life, but don't let fear drive your life. Let fear be the passenger. Fear is sitting right here, not right here. There's fear here being like, oh no, is this cringe? And I'm like, okay, we're going to keep driving. We're going to keep going forward. And I think that's the thing. You can leave room for your emotions. I'm not asking you to suppress your feelings by any means. Please don't. Please express your feelings and acknowledge them. That's healthy and that's good. But don't let your feelings drive you somewhere you don't want to be. Sit with fear and keep going. Cry, laugh, feel the fear. Let yourself like be aware of the fact that you're afraid and then go after what you want. I'm afraid too. I have fear. I have fear. It's right there too. But I show up and I do the work anyways. Fear can be here, the fear of being cringe, the fear of anything. It can all be here, but show up. And that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, tell me your thoughts on cringe. I want to hear it. If you enjoyed my face today, I got a box from Starface. So that's where the zit stickers and nose strip is from. If you have cool art to show me, send me a DM on Instagram at dahlia.raz. I love hearing from you guys. I mean it. I really love it. Tell me what you're making. Tell me about getting over your fear of being cringe. I want to hear it. Buy my art. That's really neat. I sell t-shirts and prints with my art on my website, dahliaraz.com. And if you see an original piece of art in one of my videos that you enjoy and you want to buy it, send me an email, dahlia@dahliaraz.com. I love hearing from you guys. Please don't let the fear of being cringe prevent you from living an awesome life. That's just the cringiest thing of all.